Alrighty, hey there everyone. We're back again today with Catmore Minecraft. So last time, aka 3 hours ago, so that's how long it's been. Last time we went ahead and just did some general work around the world, you know. We got some more villagers installed, we got an extra little bit of netherite on our sword, we got some glowstone, and generally just making some kind of prep for ourselves for the rest of our base that we still have yet to clean up here. It's currently day 351, still here today on November 11th, 2025, and yeah, I mean, realistically, I want some more farming done. We're gonna pop down into our base real quick and go load up an extra shulker box with a couple extra bits and bobs. If the game decides to stop lagging, holy shit. Oh my god, what was that? I have not had a lag spike that big in freaking forever. What the hell was that, man? Well, I guess that's cool. A little odd, but cool. Right, we want to go to the other side. This is where we'll have our cobblestone. Last time we finished doing the sub-roof for our main living quarters here that we actually have our base in. We still need to finish actually expanding out to the other bits, but we're not at that point yet, and that's not what we're doing right now, so we needn't worry about it. But yeah, let's just go ahead and we'll just, we'll just grab a large chunk of cobblestone. Yeah, that's probably enough. And we'll just slap that in there. We've already got a massive chunk of dirt down below, so we don't need anything else outside of that. And we're just going to go ahead and cook up some stairs and slabs. If I knew what my buttons were, that is... There we go, stairs and slabs, which is what we want. I'll also take a second here to grab another couple of stacks of torches. And we'll pop back into the nether at some point to get a hold of some more netherite, but that's for a little later. For now, I think what I really want to focus on is expanding out that snow. We're going to clear out all that snow best we can. We're going to probably move the glass out finally and settle on a new standard for our glass structure that we have. And once we've got all that said and done, then we'll see what else we got, because we've got plenty of structures around the world that still need to be taken on and plenty of stuff to do, so we'll get to it. Also going to cut this tree down right quick, because I don't need to have this here. There we go. And for now, we'll go ahead and slip on down here. We'll go ahead and grab our handy dandy cobblestone box and see what we can do. So I would like to keep the lighting scheme that I have, at least partially. I think it would be nice. Yeah, it'd be nice to keep. I don't care about it running through here because this way is already pretty well maintained, but I do care about it going through here just due to the way that this place is set up. I'm not sure if I want like a curved path to go like snaking through where maybe it'll take a turn there, go up to that hill, and then it'll snake back around and keep going up, or if I just want like a straight path upwards with some terraced bits off to each side. And I might do that instead because then I could have like a waterfall again that'll flow down a little bit more and kind of act as hydration for some of the more terrace bits that I have. So I think we'll go for that route. So we'll see. Play it by ear. Got all the time in the world here today. It is only Tuesday after all. And yet again, I got that day off because it is Veterans Day today. So hey, that is pretty nice. Fuck. Well, I wasn't supposed to go there, but that hardly matters, I suppose. So nope. We'll keep that in there, and we're basically just gonna stretch this out, going as far as we can, at least as far as needed. There we go. And then this is where we want the cobblestone out of the cobblestone box. as we are going to put in some stairs. Oop, nice and simple. That's all we got to do. Is run an easy path up like so. And I mean, I guess we'll just keep with it here. Why not? There we go. Do a little something like that. Oh, hey, dipshit. What are you doing today, Mara? I'm building. Look at my building. It's very cool. But yep, I'm building today. We're gonna move that out to the side just a smidge. There we go. Alright, and that was fortunate, not silk touch, but luckily that don't matter, so that's fine. Imagine cooking could never beat you. You'll get there one day though, Meru. Probably. So we'll just keep running this path up to the top best we can, which is starting to get a little annoying because of how this is laid out, unfortunately. But we'll get there in the end, so it hardly matters. And we'll do like a little bit of terraforming here, just something like that. And you know, we'll just play it by ear. It'll look better at some point, but we don't need to worry that far ahead for right now. There we go. We'll run something like that up. So that'll get us a nice little pathway going from the bottom there all the way up to the tippy top. And then from here, we can terraform a little bit around this staircase to get us something we can actually work with. So that being said, we're basically just going to focus on flattening out some of these areas into larger cuboids, and then we can kind of play around from there. So at least for some of these bottom sloped areas, we could probably flatten these out first. That should make things a little bit easier to work with. So let's just grab a little handful of dirt. There we go, just a little bit. And just start building up. Right, nothing else to it. So we're basically just trying to create a couple of chunks of solid dirt that will go down into the ground a little bit more. That'll give us plenty of flat planting space that we need for trees and farmland and just having some more natural bits throughout the world. Only day 351 as well, so we have made quite a good bit of progress. I don't think we're as far as we were in the other hardcore world that I had unfortunately died in. I think I was day 400 something there, if I'm not mistaken, so, you know, a fair bit into it at that point, but it was a lot of farms, and my base was pretty small compared to what I have here and what I want to have, so I'm a lot happier with this one than my other one. Not to say that my other one was bad, because it wasn't by any means, but I died at a bad time when I was in the middle of working stuff, so I'm working on stuff. I think I'd remember how to speak English considering it's my only language, but no, not today apparently. Anywho, let's go ahead and keep filling all this in. There we go. Let the grass kind of just spread throughout as time goes on, and we don't need like everything to be terraced as well. But because I'll probably leave some of these like shelf looking areas as like their own thing. But otherwise, for certain other bits, we can probably trim corners away and either decide if we want to make it blend in with the terrain a bit more, or if we really want it to be more apparent what it is. So we'll figure it out. For this specifically, though, I'm kind of mixed because on the one hand, it could be kind of cool to block it off, but on the other hand, I think damming it would actually be a little bit more interesting. We could make like a nice like little solid bridge here that could dam it off. Yeah, I think we're gonna do that for this part. You can see how it kind of like narrows down here at the mouth of this bit. And so we can fill up this whole area with water and then build just like a nice little, I guess, wooden and stone brick bit that'll help block that off. That'll give us a lot more space to work with, and then that can flow down either into a body of water or just be held up by our dam. And otherwise, we can leave the rest of the terrain pretty well intact, so... I guess we'll build this up just a little bit. Yeah, we'll do something like that for right now. I guess you're here too, buddy, huh? Ain't you? What do you got? Nothing worth having. Oh, away he goes. We'll just toss those away in there, and we'll go make some prep to block this off a little bit. I'm trying to think, how do I want to do this? And then I think some cobblestone walls would be a little bit of nice depth too that we could go for. And then just having like a more natural covering instead of it being so artificially bridge-like, but yeah, I don't know, we'll figure it out. We'll do something like that just so I can seal it off in there, and then we'll pop out a crafting table that I totally have in my bundle somewhere, but I haven't got into it in so long that I basically lost it, so let's go ahead and make just a small handful of walls. Like so. And just out of curiosity, if I block those off, you'll see how they kind of get to be a little bit more solid, so we're going to make sure that we light that up. And I mean, that's not going to work really on that small of a scale. That don't look like nothing, so we're going to probably trim the grass away. I'm trying to think of how I guess I really want this done. I mean, I guess I could do something like that, and that looks a little bit more bridge-like. It's not gonna work for me. I'm not feeling that one. We're gonna tear it down. We'll leave it be for now. I don't know how to build in that small of an area, so we will come back to that at another point in time when maybe I have a better idea, but either way, that's still where I want the border of it to be, so we're gonna go ahead and just keep it simple and seal it off with dirt, I guess. And I mean, we'll work on blending it into the terrain a little bit better at some point, but at some point doesn't necessarily need to be right now, so there we go. We've got too flat of a wall here, unfortunately, so I have to trim this away as best we can. And again, all this stuff is iterative, right? We don't have to nail it on the first try. It's just getting something down can be the toughest part, but once you got something down, you'll see what sticks, what doesn't stick, and then you can kind of, go from there. So there ain't nothing wrong with it. It's just how it is. So yeah, with that, we got a nice little body of water. And I think if we were to replace our little waterfall that we had there, we could probably get it to flow into here. But first things first, let's go ahead and start flooding all of this stuff best we can. Ooh, that's going to be a problem that I had not quite yet considered. Which was, I guess, how to deal with ice, because we can light some stuff up with torches here, but it won't be able to cover everything, so but you can see even with torches it is starting to freeze over a little bit, so yeah, we'll have to be pretty creative to come up with a solution to something like that, because that is a bit of a tougher problem to solve. Alright, well that should create a full body of water here. Basically full. Yeah, I mean, we can keep breaking this as much as we want, but it's not gonna do us too much good here. Unless we literally just line the edge with torches here pretty heavily, which, I mean, we can do. But once you start getting out to the central bits, then, you know, you can't really afford to do that, so... But we'll line what we can and try and keep everything relatively lit up here and see how that'll help. I mean, you can see that a thing of ice literally just formed right here next to it, so that's not boding too well for me. But that's fine. All right, and then additionally, I kind of just want like a simple little stream to be able to flow down from here. And we'll have it wind out and around just a little bit. You can do something like that, and you know, we'll work out the specifics of it a little bit later. But for now, as long as we got something that's kind of just carving in and around, then we should be fine. And you know, as long as we have it curve around just a little bit, that should be okay. And yeah, I mean, we could just pop up here real quick, and let's see if we can put that water source back up in the mountain, because we already had a spot that had a waterfall, but if we can force it to flow down a specific stream, that would honestly be really cool. So let's see how this goes. It's going to want to flow straight downwards, and then it'll flatten out here a bit, and already it has spilled a bit too far out to the sides. So what we're mainly looking for here is we're just looking to see what direction it flows in, and then what do we need to block off from there, basically. And again, you can see it does flow eventually into the mouth of the lake there, but it's not quite what we're looking for, so we're going to go ahead and go get some snow and block off some of the sides here. Just that way we can kind of rein it in a little bit. And we haven't got any snow. Luckily, there's a patch of snow I need to go dig out over here, so it honestly works out pretty well. Not to mention all the snowfall here that I should try and clear out at some point. This should be the patch of snow in question, so let's go ahead and just slice this away. And, you know, we'll carve up all this crap too for a little bit. And we'll try and make sure that we hold on to everything best we can. So let's go ahead and dump away some of this dirt real quick. And we can leave the rest of it to rot. We should be fine. Anyways, let's go ahead and pop on up here. See, we do have some bits freezing over, but for the most part, these torches have done a pretty good job of keeping things nice and warm, so that's good. Let's grab one more water bucket there, and let's get our snow blocks ready to see if basically what I'm looking to do is at that point where it starts turning, we want to pinch it a little bit, which is here. We want to pinch it and see if we can force it to go another way. We're going to do that so it's really obvious where it is, and then following this down here a little bit. I guess we'll see if we can get it to loop a little bit more here. Then maybe we could have like a more sheer drop off here. Do a little something like that. And then maybe have it drop downwards again a couple of blocks. And then, yeah, you can see where it's starting to want to meet up with everything we got so far. So we can go ahead and start widening this out a little bit more here. And, you know, we'll have it drop off again, because why not? There we go. And we'll climb on back up, place some torches along the way, and we'll see how this looks, and how this flows too. Do a little something like that. And otherwise, I mean, that should, on paper, be enough for it to just flow down fairly gently. And, you know, it has a couple of nice dips in it, too. So that way it's not just a steady slope downwards. You know, it's got some sharper drops in it, things like that. Be nice to have. But that being said, let's go ahead and trim that away and see how this billows out. And hey, would you look at that? It does actually billow out all the way where I want it. Perfect. Of course, we still seem to have a couple of issues with some glass around here. It's mainly because we wiped it away by accident. We wiped away some of our torches, so if I hit F3 and B to show hitboxes, torches seem to have gone away, so didn't quite recover them, but that should be fine. And we're basically just gonna come on through with some of these parts. Although you can see that's an issue that we are gonna keep having, is that sometimes ice will gunk up this fall a little bit, but it's nothing we can't work around, I guess. Of course, we got another little torch we can put down there. And yeah, I mean, I'd say that's fairly cool. So we can go ahead and just kind of follow it on down, which, again, same deal. We may need to place in a little bit more water here and there. And a couple more torches too, apparently. Okay, well, guess there's a rabbit here just doing whatever it does, so good for him. It's pretty peaceful considering how well everything's lit up here, so looks like just doing a bunch of lighting really is the way to go for a lot of this. And again, the mountains do a really good job of like physically separating us from a lot of the stuff that we haven't lit up, which is one of the main reasons why I decided to live here. So it's nice to know that that's working how it was supposed to. And, you know, otherwise we'll like dot in a couple of torches in some of these dimmer areas. But otherwise we got a nice little fall that will go down to a little pond that we've gone ahead and dug out. Still need some terraforming work done on it, of course, but, you know, it's baby steps for stuff like this, right? You don't need to go super fast. You don't need to do a whole lot all at once. You just gotta do something, literally anything, and it will get done when it gets done. And that's all there is to it after a certain amount of time. There we go, do a little something like that. There we go, just doing a little something like that I think goes a long way. So that flows out into here, which is nice. And then the water can go ahead and pool right in here, which should be good for us. And we could technically bring up the water level just like another layer. Maybe we should, just so we've got a little bit more depth here to work with, but as is, it's still pretty solid, so can't really complain too much about it. There we go. We'll go ahead and light this little section up as well so we can get this ice to thaw, stay thawed. And there we go. So we've got a nice little waterfall now that'll go ahead and run on through everything. Let's go ahead and pop on up to the top of our base here. And we'll just throw some shit out and see what we can see here. Oh yeah, I like that. You can see, you can see how it's getting gunked up a little bit though, but I do like how you can tangibly see it kind of start out small and start billowing out to be bigger and bigger until eventually it pulls through. So hey, not bad. It's pretty good for a first pass. Pretty good. Grab our spyglass here. Yep, you can see we're definitely going to need some extra lighting there because that's gunked it up. But because we have enough solid source blocks in and around, we should be okay. Yeah, I feel like the drops work out pretty well with it too. It still leaves us a good bit of land out to the side there that we can use, and then, of course, that kind of leaves that as empty, but we can still make some good use out of that. So hey, I like that. Very nice. Once we do some more terraforming around it too, it'll look even better, but that is quite a good start for now. Make sure we slow our momentum right on down. There we go. Again, if there's anything that's going to kill me in this world, it's going to be that. It's going to be using the elytra and getting stupid with it, and then that's going to get me killed, so... Of course, we'll have to do some additional terraforming around here at some point. And, you know, we can just hide a torch in there. I think that'd be fine. And just kind of swimming up and through. It looks like that was the last bit of our ice that would do that. So it should be fine otherwise. Yeah, I mean, we still got a good bit of greenery here to work with, and then stony bits of the mountain can stay as they are. And then we just need to go back to terraforming here. Flatten all this out, mesh it up with the riverbed that we got here. And same deal with that part. We will flatten that out and mesh that in. And then we should basically be golden here. So there we go. There should be enough light here to prevent a lot of ice from forming. So that'll give us a little bit of a levity there. And with that, we can go ahead and tuck our cobblestone stuffs away for now because we don't really need it. Go ahead and get some extra dirt yet again. And we're just going to go ahead and turn this into a solid chunk of dirt to get us started. And then we'll kind of scrape it away and mold it from there. So currently 4 o'clock here today. Quite a good bit of time has passed. It's been a nice extra day off though. Makes me excited to be able to work 410 here in the coming days. Where I'll have like an whole extra third day off every week. But in return, I have to work, you know, like 10 hours a day every day. But I only have to do it 4 days a week. So honestly, I'd say personally, for me, it's worth it. It's not worth it for everyone. It's not for everyone either. But when it works, it works. And it works for me. So and you know, we'll just trim away some of this stuff on the edges. There we go, do a little something like that. Make ourselves a little bit more space here that looks a little bit more natural. And then we'll probably just shave the top bit off here. We still have some amounts of flat terrain, but we still need to, or rather some amounts of terraform, but we need to remember that first and foremost, we really want flat bit, so because flat land is good for farming, not much else is, so yeah. And we're also going to cut the corner away here a little bit. Like so. Probably would have a little bit more inventory space if we actually stayed organized a bit there, but that's fine. And we'll throw in some grass and kind of change our slope out a little bit more. There we go, we'll do a little something like that. I think that'll be fine. And same deal, I think it's time to make another solid chunk of dirt. Put it down somewhere. I find it a lot easier to terraform when you've got just a large solid chunk of something to work with, and then you strip away the parts you don't want. If that makes any sense. So that way you're not trying to cobble together what tiny little bits do and don't work, it's just you've got a solid block of land that you can mold any way you want and chip away at instead of having to fill it in yourself, you know? So that's why I like doing it like this. And also too, even then, I have like these more geometric shapes as like landscaping can look pretty cool if done in the right context. Just I personally tend to overuse them, so I'm trying to not do that as much this time around. But for something like terracing, where you're basically taking the slopes of a mountain and turning them into large steps, basically, you kind of don't have any other choice because that's what you need for farming and for growing stuff is a lot of large flat space. And on the slopes of a mountain, the only way you're making said flat space is by, well, terracing. So that's the deal. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just, you know, don't want to do it like that all the time. Although on a mountain, again, you are pretty limited, so... That's why what we do at the ends up being really important, because we're trying to avoid very large flat walls. You know, that's why they tend to taper off the way they do, or it's a more gentle slope for the wall part of it specifically, and not just that, you know, because that's not good. But this is a lot better. You know, it's not perfect by any stretch of the word, but you're avoiding large flat walls and it blends in with the terrain better. But when you go up, you still have your flat bits that you can work with. So that's what you're trying to do here as well, where you're basically trying to build kind of a dirt oval, you know, chip away some of the corners, things like that, to smoothen it out a little bit. And once it's all nice and smooth, then you can actually do a lot more with it, and that's pretty nice. It's a lot of curves, it's a lot of just simple curves with a lot of this kind of stuff, which, because of all the work I've done in my other hardcore world, I having to build a giant ass sphere, got a lot better at just being able to make these kinds of natural looking curves, basically on, you know, on a whim. But even then, it can still take a little bit of time to get used to, again, every once in a while. And that's all right. Reason why some of these will look a little bit more unnatural is because there's not enough fill-in for them. So you want to make sure that it's properly buffed out a little bit more. And when it is, then it looks a little bit better. And in some spots it looks like it's too buff, so then you trim it away a little bit and, you know, it looks a little better. So again, it's just kind of cause and effect with a lot of this stuff, you know. You don't need to do too much, and sometimes it's best just to settle on something and say, ah, it's good enough, I'll do it another day. And then don't do it another day. There's nothing wrong with that. It's fine enough. It's one single block. Can't get you, you know. But something like this one will be a little bit tougher because we are actually going to need to trim out the edges pretty severely here on multiple sides. Nature is symmetrical quite often, but not necessarily when it comes to landscapes. There are things in nature that have quite a lot of symmetry, but land is usually not one of them if you haven't noticed. So, that in mind, you can try and have some more of these lopsided curves and kind of work our way around from there. So of course, if this is something that's too large to try and deflatten, then we can always decide, hey, I just want to add some simple support. How did you get over here? That's very interesting. We'll have to see if we can take a look at that, but if I had to guess, it had spawned somewhere up here. And in fact, that certainly seems to be the case. Looks like it came from this cave that we have up here. We got multiple zombies in here. Yep, minor little dripstone cave, so good thing we found that. That could have been a little awkward later. And it looks like it's snowing now. And that's why this wasn't lit up, because this is powdered snow. So that's a little different. So I'm okay with letting that be. And then having some relatively haphazard notches in here can help to make things look a little bit more organic too. So, and it sounds like the birds are back again. We'll let him die. There he goes. Sounds like we've got yet another. Which is probably our cue to put on our elytra and go back up to the top of our base here real quick. And same deal, you can see all the way down there, and it, again, still looks pretty solid. Pull out our spyglass yet again. And you can see just adding in a little bit of depth there has really done wonders for smoothing that out. So again, we've got a good bit of flat space to work with and multiple spots. That should be good for growing crops, planting more trees, you know, things of that nature. But it still looks pretty natural, especially given the landscape surrounding it, except for that little bit there that will probably chip away that block, that block, that block, and have the water flowing a little bit more. Then otherwise, we can like flatten that out up at the top layer up to there, and that'll probably be as far as that needs to go. And then we can build out another step after that block and onwards, so that way we get a layer up on top there, and then we get a bend curving around the stairs that we can work with that ends at about that point. Then we got another flat bit, and then, you know, we got some other bits and pieces we can kind of go through and clean up, but for the most part, that'll get us a nice clean bit of terrain that should hold us over. So, not bad. Done that in just about an hour here, so we've made pretty good time on all this. Funnily enough, sometimes natural terrain is oddly flat. I haven't shaved any of those. They were just like that, frankly, so that's always a little fun to see, but just something to keep in mind, you know. Sometimes nature is rigid and straight, but that's kind of the exception and not the status quo, so that's the deal there. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead, get some more dirt, and we're going to flatten this out by physically building up a little bit more, and then we're going to build this up a good bit. We'll also have to come up with a way to kind of keep some of the snow melt out of here, which could prove to be a little tough beyond just spamming a bunch of lighting, so... Which if we work it into some of the farming that we've done, or that we're going to do, it could work out a little better, but we have yet to make it that far, so we'll have to just kind of wait and see there. And then this is as high as I need it to go, so... We got plenty of dirt in our base too we can bring down. I just don't have a need to do it yet, because we're still chipping through the dirt that was left over from our last bout of terraforming. There we go. Do a little something like that. That'll get us one flat part up here that we can work with, and then we'll probably dig this out, so that way this is all flush with that layer, I would say. You can see how I'm kind of building this all like a slice at a time, basically. So again, that just lets me focus on just doing one itty bitty little bit at a time. Has made things a little bit easier for me to actually digest. Feel like we're getting to have a straight ridge here as well too, if you notice. So I'm gonna try and make sure certain things don't end up so straight and rigid on certain points. Or if you notice how we've got basically like these solid staircases of dirt that tend to pop up every once in a while, trying to avoid doing that. And like we got a bit of a cave in here. And you know, we'll carve a couple of notches out every once in a while too. Looks like we are out of dirt. At least for right now. There we go, do a little something like that. Gives us a little bit more space to work with here. And you know, same deal for some of these trimmings here. We don't have to do a whole lot. We just got to plant some greenery that just looks kind of cool. And then otherwise, we can go ahead and just flatten all this stuff out and down. Here, we'll just do a little something like that. Try and beef that out a little bit. There we go. Placing just a little bit of lighting there because I can. And just do a little something like that. All right. And I think with that, we actually have enough flat area to work with here that we should be able to do realistically whatever we want. We can cut out like this extra stone that's here and replace it with grass. You know, I guess that could be fine to do. But otherwise, the main path is all done, so we don't have a lot here that need to worry about. Sounds like we should also try and dig for that cave at some point, but that's not a me problem right this second. And yeah, you know, we'll just kind of let it regrow on its own over time. Nothing wrong with that. Add in some torches here and there as well. Like so. And that gets us enough flat space to grow just a couple of extra trees and things of that nature. Although we should grab some additional stairs and things. Just real quick. And we got some extra cobble too. Perfect. Yeah, you know, we'll throw that in there because I can. This part still feels a little unfinished here, to be perfectly honest. And we'll do like something like that. That feels a little bit better. There we go. And then we just want a couple of stairs there because we can. And same deal, that'll open this up for whatever we need. So that'll be nice. And then yeah, I mean we can branch into like the snow a little bit more as needed, but realistically we've done enough here and I like the snow kind of sloping into it, so I'm going to try not to disturb these areas too much, if at all. And we do have a little flat area on this powdered snow we could build in or mess with if we really want to, but I highly doubt we need to go that far, so we'll probably just leave it be. Go take a peek at it real quick though, ain't nothing wrong with that. Does be good to always get a little bit more lighting in, you know? Yeah, I mean, we got this little area here, and especially this area here too, we could do some extra goodie stuff with. Our leather boots are back at home, unfortunately, so I'll have to climb out of there the old-fashioned way. But yeah, we could probably have a part of it that branches off a little bit more and goes up there if we really want to. Like if we wanted to have part of the path curve around or maybe break like straight through here and then go through, but I think for now that's fine. And we could always build up this area a little bit too, just so that way we have a little bit more flat space here. Right, speaking of flat space, we could probably dig out a little bit of it. There we go. We'll do something like that. And yeah, you know, we could have like a staircase going up and through, and that gives us more space up here that we can flatten out, and then eventually loop it down to our pathing that we have there. And I mean, yeah, we just have plenty of options, but now we got more space to work with. Although a lot of torch spam, I will say, but kind of can't do a lot about that right now, unfortunately. It just kind of is what it is, so. But yeah, that is pretty freaking solid, I would say. I'm gonna leave that glowstone in here too. Well, as we can take it with us for a little bit. Do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then glowstone. One, two, three, four, glowstone. 1, 2, 3, 4, glowstone. I think I'd rather have it be up just one more block. Even though that'll throw my pattern out of whack technically, I would rather it look good and worry about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, glowstone. And 1, 2, 3, 4, glowstone. Do a little something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, glowstone, but we'll do it here instead, because this one will mark the end of it. And yeah, you know, we've got a nicely lit path that'll go all the way from our actual base all the way up the mountain here. Looks kind of good. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. And we can patch that back in so that looks a little better. And then, yeah, you know, we can go flatten out more space if we need to, but otherwise this should be plenty for now. Trying to think. Once we start putting in farms here, the snow problem should basically solve itself between the lighting and just stuff physically not being able to have snow on top of it. So we don't need to worry too hard about the snow. At least for now. That should be okay. And we'll just do like something like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. And we'll fly on back to the top and sleep, so that way we can get rid of these damn phantoms too. But just looking at it from above, yeah, I'd say it looks pretty good. It's got a nice clear path. That works. The steps, you can see how they kind of zigzag down and across a little bit better. So the flat land actually looks good. And the terraforming that goes into it also looks pretty good too. So, very nice. Yeah, I'd say it's some pretty good terraforming there. I'm pretty happy with that. It slopes fairly gently to get up to its first bit of flats, and then it kind of goes a little bit sharply up too as you start getting to some of the steeper parts, so it works out pretty well. And let's see here. Same deal, good bit of flatland there that we can try and take advantage of. So we will head back down there with some more dirt. Try and get a hold of that. There we go. Alright, these are all the mob drops, ain't they? Yep. We are low on gunpowder again, which is kind of bad. Like, pretty bad. Can I let that shulker box down below? Damn, well, That's fine. We will just snag some dirt, plain and simple. Don't need a shulker box for that. And yeah, we'll just pop on over here. Seems like those pillagers have moved on at least, so didn't need to fight them after all. I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was gonna kill me. I definitely came in a little too hot there, so whoops. Luckily that didn't get me. There we go, we'll just do something like that. Already running a little low on dirt, but that should be fine. We definitely have enough to get all this flattened out. We may not have enough for terraforming, but if we can at least get the flattening all done, then we should be good. And same deal, I don't really know what I want here, I just know that it is nice to have some flat space to work with. And that's reason enough, so... Yeah, it's already 4:38. I'd still be at work right now had it not been a holiday, which... a little crazy to think about, but that's fine. Here we go, we'll just do something simple like that. And that'll get us a bit more of a connected path over to this flat bit. So we have one very large flat bit that we can work with. There we go. Try to make sure we put down ample lighting as well. And then we really just need to take the remaining dirt that we have and make sure the sides are properly terraformed, but because the walls aren't as high as the last ones, this shouldn't take as long and shouldn't cost as many resources, so there's that at least. Also take some time, of course, to trim all this away finally. We're overdue for that. And we'll just do something really simple like that. Here we go, do a little something like that. And yeah, we'll have to taper that off with some snow at some point, but I don't want to worry about that for right now. Otherwise, we've got a good bit of flat space that should look pretty good from within here. I mean, we still do have a couple of bits and pieces that kind of need to be redone. But for the most part, I think we're doing pretty well. Okay, what do you know? We got a little bit extra dirt. Nice. I don't think I've opened that chest in ages either, so that was a lucky find. And then, you know, we can have some parts be a little steep, so that's okay. We'll do some tiny bits like that. There we go. Then we're just going to do another pass with some torches to make sure everything's all lit up as good as it can be. Forgot a bit about this side, so we may need that dirt back after all. We'll just keep it on us for a little bit. Alright, that should be good. Everything's pretty well cleaned out. We got a good massive bit of flat space here to work with and stock with maybe a couple of small buildings, some farms, some more peaceful bits too, like a little fishing dock, something like that. And then just more space in general that's close by, so we have plenty of room for farms, which we have needed desperately for a little while here, because we've pretty much crammed as much as we could into this space, and That's as far as the natural grass went until we started getting into like snow blocks and snow layers. So it is about time that we finally branched out of it a little bit more and saw what we could do with it. We're gonna also toss out some of this crap because I don't need it. And we'll head back to base here for a little bit and go throw some of this stuff away into our chest. It's already been an hour and a half, if you can believe it, which combined with today's stream from earlier puts us at the 4-hour mark. So yeah, we've certainly got quite a lot done in one day today, which is pretty nice. I'll take that. I'll go ahead and light up the edges here just a little bit. There we go. All right. So let's go ahead and put away our dirt and grass. Podzol. Snow is the only thing I can put away over here. And by put away, I mean not really. We're just going to throw it on the floor and let it die. Cobblestone. We can go ahead and get all that taken out and start moving that over. We'll come back for the rest of that when we move everything over, so that'll be fun. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and get our saplings put away. Bones. I'll put away some of this emerald ore that we have as well. Just because. And glowstone we'll tuck away in there because it's a little bit more special. Got another stack of logs too. We can go ahead and put that away. And put away that spare leather we've been holding on to for some reason. We'll take that out, put that there. There we go. And we'll just move some stuff around, and we've got a nice clean inventory for some netherite mining. Let's go ahead and pop on down and head on back to the nether and go mine for some netherite. I'd like to get enough for another ingot at least, so we're looking for at least 4 ancient debris, realistically more of course, but if I get 1 to 2 ingots out of it, I'd say that'd be pretty good to have. We can continue bit by bit to upgrade our tools to netherite, since we do have quite a ways to go here. And again, down is the easy part here. It's getting up is the tricky part. Going down is also a little tricky, all things considered, considering there's multiple floors that we are interested in, like, kind of perching on. So we got the one that goes to, like, the general nether. We've got another one that goes to the nether fortress where we have our massive pit for wither skeleton farming. And then our other one here for getting a hold of lava. And then our last one here for netherite mining. So we've got 4 points of entry that we will be interested in doing at some point. But we're not at that point yet, so we don't need to worry about that. Anyways, let's go ahead and grab some food. That in our offhand. And pick a direction to go. I think we're still using our silk touch pick, I guess. Never gonna turn my nose up to getting a hold of some more gold, all things considered. Because you see how much we went through just making those golden apples for villager curing. So, the more I get, the better off I'm gonna be here. Ow, not nice. Really mean. And that's as far as we go, because we are digging into blackstone now. Same deal, no dings in our armor, of course, because this is netherite armor. Won't lose any durability on it from fire damage, that's really nice. Hey, first batch of ancient debris. Nice. We're lucky it'll be a 3 vein, but it looks like it'll just be a 2 vein, which there ain't nothing wrong with that. More than what we started with. And I mean, technically that's enough for us to make an ingot, because we've already got 2 scrap at home, so we do have all of the necessary materials for it, but you know, we're just gonna keep it simple and go for 8. There ain't nothing wrong with that. There we go, and then we'll clean up that gravel here in a minute. And we got fairly quick reflexes to handle stuff like that. That wasn't too bad. We should be coming up on the end of it. Oh, no, apparently not. It's just a different patch of blackstone that's just here in the way. That's lovely. Now it looks like we hit the end of the road with that. I guess it's fine. we can keep going a little more. I thought it was going to be a much larger bit of blackstone like we were in a basalt delta, but that doesn't appear to be the case. And what do you know? We got more ancient debris. Nice. Didn't seem to be any more than the one, though, that we got. Bit unfortunate, but that's alright. We'll take what we get. Thought that was ancient debris. Nope, just netherrack. And that's another quartz. Quartz, of course. Now we're in Basalt Delta territory, and this is where it actually ends. Why? You have anywhere else you would rather be? A little bit odd, but alright. You don't know how to do anything other than get in the way, don't you? Damn. Oh, out he goes. All this mining, we've only got 3 ancient debris still. Bit tough, but that's fine. Sure, we'll get some more soon. Or at least I'd like to imagine we'll get some more soon. And good reflexes there. And a third time. Alright, wouldn't be surprised if it happened a 4th fucking time at this point, because that was a lot of them all clustered together, but seems like that should have been the only time at least, so... what do you know, we met back up with where we started. Good. Alright, let's trim that out, and we can start working on the other side. That's not a good sign that I couldn't place. Yep, that's exactly why. On a bit of a dry spell with ancient debris by the looks of it. We're still getting a good chunk of gold though. We've actually got 63 gold ores, so a tiny bit less than a stack, which is pretty solid. Speaking of gold ore, we got a little bit more here, it looks like. Not that we can pick it up right now, but we do have it all the same, so... There we go. And it just goes on and on for quite a while in one direction here. Hey, there we go. Got another batch of ancient debris here, finally. That puts us at 5 here on this expedition so far, so not too bad. I think we're at 7 total, because that also includes the 2 that we have back at home. So we've almost got another 2 ingots worth, which is pretty good. I think we'll use it on our Silk Touch and our Fortune pickaxes, and then we'll kind of just work our way down tool by tool. And then, you know, we'll do our sets of shovels next, we'll do a set of axes next, and then finally our set of hoes. And then any extra netherite we get, we'll hold on to for a while. I plan on using it eventually when netherite horse armor comes out. You know, we can make a set of netherite horse armor. Netherite nautilus armor, I guess, when we can get a hold of that. Netherite spear too, of course. We can have that going. That'll be netherite. And I'm trying to think what else. What else is made of netherite? Well, I guess some of the spare helmets that I've talked about. It's like a spare blast protection 4, fire protection 4, and projectile protection 4 netherite helmets. The reason I want those, of course, is when we're dealing with very, very specific environments, there's certain benchmarks that additional protections of helmets hit that you just can't hit with full protection 4. So a charge creeper will one-shot you in full protection 4 armor and hardcore, but not if your helmet is blast protection 4 and everything else is protection 4. So you can tank a charge creeper at point blank and still live even with the extra knockback that it'll give you, but because it's netherite you won't get knocked back as far. And with fire protection 4 on a helmet, you are invincible to lava basically, and your rate of healing that you get from just eating normal food will outdo the lava damage. It's a very mean trick you tried to pull there. Not very nice of you now, is it? Yeah, the rate of healing that you get just from eating normal food will out-heal any damage you take from the lava and the fire, not to mention the reduction of burn time too for when you get out of the lava. So, as long as you have food on you, you can live lava forever with netherite like that, which is pretty cool. And projectile protection, that's just to round it out. Projectile protection don't fucking do nothing. It's worthless. There's no single projectile that a normal mob could shoot that would be so damaging that it could one-shot you in Prot 4, but having that extra bit of projectile protection would cause you to not get one-shot. It's nothing, you know? And with that, we have officially made it to the end of this section. We got away with 6 ancient debris, which puts us at 8 in total, which is perfect. So we'll go ahead and head back to base, go get that smelted up, and go convert our pickaxes over. Oh, that was quartz. I thought that was more ancient debris. It was not. But yeah, we'll go ahead and head back to base, go get this smelted and the rest of our goodies put away, and then we'll go upgrade our pickaxes, and then I'll probably call it there, I would say. Again, it's been almost 2 hours already, again. So it's been well over 4 hours today, probably 4.5 by the time we're officially done, so did a pretty good bit of streaming there. And then I'll probably stream more again tomorrow with it being Wednesday and all, but you know, we'll see. I'm sure it'll be fine either way. Technically, we need to mine this side out as well, so we're not like fully done yet. So I guess we'll just kind of mine straight through real quick. Well, good thing we did, because we literally had some super easy ancient debris we would have missed out on otherwise, so... Not really missed out on, we would have gotten to it. That was some good thinking there that we decided to jump. But yeah, we wouldn't have really missed out on it per se, it's just we would have gotten it another day instead, so... That's all. Oh, right. There we go, we'll do that. And that puts us at 8. The 2 at home, we got 10, so... Let's see if we can go for another ingot here. Especially considering the fact that we just need 2 more to get a whole nother ingot, so... That should be easy enough to go for. Hopefully it will be, assuming that we're not mining into another basalt delta. Nope, just a fairly large patch of blackstone, and that's where it stops. When lava is 2 blocks tall like that, that's usually a good sign that you've hit like an actual patch of lava. And I don't want anything to do with that, so we're gonna call it on that front. And wow, that is a massive freaking gravel patch, good lord. Hopefully we come across 2 more ancient debris, but if we don't, then that's not too big a deal. Guys, we can always come back and get more tomorrow, so... We're not in a big rush to try and get full ancient debris, or full netherite, rather. Especially because it only helps us when it comes to durability, and since we've got Unbreaking 3 mending, our durability is already, more than plenty. We'll leave that alone. I don't feel like I want to go get that. We got enough gold from all this anyway, so that should be fine. And we'll go ahead and switch that around a little bit. There we go. And we'll just smelt the scrap into, or debris into scrap, and then I'm not going to upgrade anything yet until after I get both of my diamond pickaxes fixed up, so that way it's quicker to get them up to full health, and then I'll upgrade them to netherite. And otherwise, we are doing pretty freaking good. So our base is coming along really well. Terraforming's been going great. We got more space than what we know what to do with, which is good. We've got solid plans for getting a couple of extra material farms around our base before we actually construct the whole bit of it that we're trying to dig out. You know, 3 million blocks is a lot to dig, and if we wait until we dig it out, nothing will get done. So we got a good backup plan in terms of keeping things moving, and I've got a lot of stuff again, so we are doing very well here. In a very nice and neat world. But yep, we'll just go ahead and drop all this off real quick. That's still here somehow. Alright, gravel, 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 gravel. There it is. Alright, and we need more coal. There we go. We'll let that go ahead and cook up, and we'll tuck the leftover coal away back in my bag. At least for now, because we're just gonna go ahead and get some more coal blocks, put the regular coal back in there. Otherwise, we got a hold of everything else we really want out of here, so that should be good. Need to take those torches out of our hand, finally. And we'll go ahead and make one other ingot. There we go. And we'll let the rest of that smelt and we'll get it another day. So, yeah, not too bad. Go ahead and tuck those in there for now. Go ahead and turn these into gold blocks. And otherwise, that is going to do it for me here today. We're going to go ahead and get up to our bed real quick. And go take a minute to go admire our work that we've done for today. Got quite a lot done in these past 2 hours. Be pretty happy with it. And yeah, so you can see the amount that we've carved out looks pretty natural. Got a nice little waterfall flowing into a river, into a pond, with some flat bits that we have terraced and that we've terraformed around with too. And then we just have stuff that we need to put on them, but that'll be pretty good. And we should probably terraform the edges that we had dug out at some point, but I'm not quite sold on that yet. But I will at some point, I'm sure, just not quite yet. So that way the mountain blends into the castle a little bit better, so we have like a solid like border where this whole castle acts as a border between stuff I have going on in the back there and the nether portal against whatever else we have like physically walled off here and all that kind of deal. But again, we don't need to worry about that for now. So it's currently day 357, and that is going to do it for me. So, thank you all for watching, and I hope to see y'all again next time. Bye-bye!